It's our duty to serve veterans and military families who serve their country in the most difficult ways imaginable. Together, we can say thank you in so many ways. Small acts of kindness mean more than anything. With our support, veterans and military families can face even the most.
What does your dad do when he goes to work? This is a question that I find very easy to answer, but I'm surprised by how many people cannot answer this simple question about their dad in any sort of detail. Some might say, oh, he works for Coke, but yet they have no idea what he actually does there, and it really does not affect them in any way other than the fact that it creates income for the family. My dad was in the military for 25 years until he retired in May of 2009. There is no job or career that affects the family as a whole more than the military. Every member of the family is affected. Military children, commonly referred to as army brats, have extremely unique aspects to their lives. My dad being in the military has been the single most influential aspect of my life. It has influenced me all the way down from the way I was raised to where I was raised and to the experiences that have shaped me as a person I've become today. As a kid, I did not realize that my situation was different than the average kid's. When I was younger, we normally lived on the army bases, so as a result, all of my friends were military kids too, and they were in the same situation as me. It was not until my fourth move when we moved to North Carolina that I realized that not everyone was raised the same way I was. I was in third grade, and it was the first time that I lived in a town that did not revolve entirely around the army. I made friends with kids whose parents were not in the military, and I realized for the first time that not everyone moves every year or two, and not everyone's dad gets deployed. There's a stereotype that exists that depicts fathers in the military as some big emotional hardasses, but from my experience, this is not the case. From an outside perspective, I can see where many might perceive the relationship in that way, but it is necessary for military parents, especially the soldier, to raise their kids just a little differently than non-military families. Most kids do not have one of their parents leaving for a year at a time to go fight a war in a foreign country, and because of this, there are a few differences between the way military parents raise their kids as opposed to the regular family. Strict parenting is necessary. There is a sense of responsibility that military kids have to take on when their parent is deployed. The responsibilities of the deployed parent are not all placed on the spouse. The kids have to become more independent and less reliant on their parents. According to research done by DeGarmo, military kids with a deployed father mature mentally and physically faster over the course of deployment as compared to kids whose fathers are not in the military. Sons of the deployed soldier try to step up and fill the role of the man in the house, and daughters try to relieve their brothers of the additional responsibility they acquire. 3 out of 5 service members deployed around the world in support of Operation Enduring Freedom and Operation Iraqi Freedom also leave families at home. Deployment of a parent to the combat zone has been described as a catastrophic stressor for military families. When the soldier is deployed, it is difficult on everyone. I cannot begin to explain all the emotions that are felt by the family, but I will attempt to portray a few. The soldier has to leave behind his family, knowing there is a chance of never seeing them again, leaving their spouse a widow and their kids with one less parent. The spouse has to watch their husband or wife get on a plane to fly to fight in a war, knowing that they might never see them again and will definitely not see them again for at least a year. The kids have to hug their parent goodbye, and depending on their age and level of understanding, there are a million different ways that they could be feeling. These feelings, and the others impossible to put into words, are not just felt on the day of deployment, but rather they are feelings that stay with you constantly throughout the duration of the deployment. A stereotype that I do find true is a stereotype that portrays Army wives as tough. Not just anyone could handle the stress that goes along with the deployment of their spouse. They have to live every day knowing that their husband is fighting a war and that every day they are at risk of becoming a widow. The wife tries to be strong in front of the kids because if she shows her emotions, then the kids will mirror those same emotions back. The wife already has to try to help her kids cope with their own emotions of deployment. The anxiety and stress levels that the family experience during deployment are impossible to describe. One way the wife tries to reduce anxiety and stress is through developing a steady daily routine. The wife has to plan out a schedule that works for the whole family, and routine becomes extremely important. A variation from this daily routine by even one member of the family can ruin the plans for the rest of the family. Sacrifices must be made and priorities kept in order. From 3rd through 6th grade, I always played on the same sports team as my brother, who was 2 years older than me. This was necessary because when my dad was deployed, which was more the times than not during those 3 years, there was no way for my mom to get my brother and I to all of our sporting events if we played on different teams. I never minded and always thought it was cool to be playing with older guys. I think that my life has been significantly affected by the military, but when I step back and look at my dad's life and the life of those who actually serve in the military, the effect on my life seems minuscule. One of the biggest challenges that the soldiers and military face is the balance of duty to their country and love for their families. Soldiers obviously have a strong feeling of patriotism and loyalty to their country, and they feel that it is their duty to serve. Any good husband or father also feels a loyalty to their family and feel like it is their duty to support and defend their own family. When soldiers are deployed, in my eyes, they are going above and beyond both of these expectations. Not only are they supporting and defending their own families, but they are also defending every other American, ensuring that we all get to enjoy the freedoms and rights that we take for granted every day.